You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of truth, a dimension of freedom, a dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the capitalist corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the capitalist corner.
That's right, folks. Where reason meets reality, the capitalist corner. I am your host, Mark Pellegrino, and also the chairman of the American Capitalist Party, along with my co-host and vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, Michael Liebowitz, who is also the host of his own fantastic show, The Rational Egoists, a show which everybody should be watching if you want more synapses in your brain. That's what I'm thinking. Michael, what's going on in The Rational Egoists? Give us the latest.
Tomorrow I should have out an episode on inequality. It will be great. So everybody should check it out. It's a great episode. We delve into the claims of inequality, whether they're, even if it is unequal, is it bad, the moral, the immoral? It's all going to be there.
Hey, Michael, have you shrunk 5 inches since the last time I saw you? Because you look like you're much smaller today than normal.
Are you crazy?
No, I think I'm perceiving something that is happening. I'm just not sure why it's happening.
I think you're on drugs.
While I'm not, but while Michael figures out his height issues, I just want to say we are not affiliated.
Did my chair shrink?
We are not affiliated with the American Capitalist Party, even though we are the chair and vice chair. The show is not affiliated with them. We are just giving our opinions from a capitalist perspective on the daily news items. Anybody else out there in the chat think Michael looks shorter? He does to me. If you're wondering why I'm here today, folks, when I should be working, it's because I am what's called the cover set. That means if there's weather, they go to the interior and they start shooting the interior. Now, technically, that was supposed to be Friday, which is why I thought I was going to be traveling later, but they traveled me yesterday on Tuesday thinking it would rain today. It's not raining today. No. It might not rain tomorrow.
You know why I look shorter?
Wait a minute, I'm not done. I'm not done.
No, we're not going to get into all your shenanigans.
Manners.
Manners. You threw out an accusation, and I'm going to tell you what's actually occurring.
Because you've lost height.
No, because you're in a different spot and the chair you're sitting in is elevated compared to the one you normally sit in, thus making me look smaller.
No. All right. I'd like opinions from the audience if Michael looks like he's small.
Of course I do, because you look taller.
Okay. The long and the short of it is, folks, I'm here because it's not raining outside in Toronto. So here we are to discuss the current events, and every time Michael sends me stuff, I swear I get depressed. So we're going to try to put positive spins on as much of this as we possibly can, because as capitalists, we are optimists. We are pro-human life, and we want everybody to adopt that very same ethos. So you sent me a lot of tweets today, Michael. One of them that particularly caught my attention was from, is it Kaya? Is it Kaya Willis?
Okay. It is, but first we're going to address something. Persephone, I just sent you a copy of a video that Mark and I previously did. Look at it, and you will notice that Mark is significantly elevated in his new spot.
So Kaya Willis noted some practical realities on the ground that the right-wing media seem to be, not just the right-wing media, it seems most people seem to be ignoring. And that's this. So Hamas has already broken the peace plan, folks. They've breached the ceasefire. I don't know if anybody knows this, but they are actually approaching IDF lines, which have withdrawn to a yellow line, which they were contractually obligated to do. And Hamas fighters approached the line and ignored several warnings on the part of the IDF, including firing in the air, to cease and desist. They continued to approach and were fired upon. And of course, hopefully killed, which is where they belong. They're not releasing all of the bodies. They, of course, only released, I believe, 2 of the dead bodies, and they're claiming they don't know where the other ones are. But I'm sure they do. They're keeping them as bargaining chips. They're refusing to demilitarize, as we know that immediately after the IDF withdrawal, they began assassinating the political competition, which were potential Klansmen within the Gaza area, families that were opposed to Hamas, who presented potential power competition to them. They began assassinating them and torturing collaborators in the middle of the street. Folks, this was popular. This was public. This was filmed on people's cameras, on their iPhones, and went around the world, and nobody seems to care. I don't see any A-list celebrities out there like Javier Bardem or all the people, or Mark Ruffalo, talking about how vicious Hamas has been to the Palestinian people right now when they're supposed to be standing down and demilitarizing. They are refusing to hand over power. In fact, many prominent Hamas people within the organization have said, we either fight or die. That's it. We are either martyrs or winners in this conflict. So there really seems to be no will on the part of Hamas to release power. There really seems to be no will to carry on with the second portion of the peace plan. Now, your own Brooks said something interesting yesterday to me. Now that the live hostages are gone, this could in fact be the end of Hamas. I mean, Israel could take the kid gloves off and really start to dismantle them. Of course, this is what Hamas wants. This is what Hamas wants. They want to be martyrs. They want more Palestinian people dead because they've seen that that has been a successful tactic on the international stage. They've already won a technical victory in the eyes of the international world, which has proclaimed a Palestinian state. Many prominent countries have claimed an independent Palestinian state in the UN. And so they consider that a victory, and they're going to continue with that, I think. I don't know that this reaches the second stage of development. I think, in fact, U.S. troops may have to get involved at some point, even though the IDF could do everything on their own. Chat all says yes. What does that mean?
What?
What does that mean, Persephone? Chat.
They're talking about that I look shorter. Are you not paying attention to what's happening here?
Yeah, so you do look shorter.
That's what they say, but they're not understanding how relationships work. That's the problem.
So Michael is the only one in the whole universe that's right. Everybody else is wrong.
What's new?
Okay, so Michael, what do you think about
Persephone?
this?
Hold on. No, we're not. No, you can't keep bringing this issue up. Persephone, stop bowing your head and look up. I just sent you a video, and I want your answer. Is not Mark elevated now? Tell the truth. Okay, now you can go, Mark.
Michael, this has nothing to do with me. I'm not comparing you to me in the frame. I'm looking at you. You look like you're 5 feet tall right now.
No, this is insane.
Behind the principal's desk.
Keith Gray is with me. So there you go. Keith Gray is obviously very smart.
Keith is wrong as usual.
No, that's the wrong one.
Your opinion on this Hamas thing. I know this isn't your. I am elevated. That's true. But Keith means mentally. Look, Michael, I want to get your thoughts on this Hamas thing because it's disturbing to me. I know it's not your bag. I know you threw it out there as red meat for me, but still. Tell me what you think about this. Do you think the Hamas deal is going to go forward? Do you think the IDF is going to now have to just completely bombard Hamas, that now the gloves can come off now that the 20 live hostages are home, and that this was maybe a suicidal maneuver on the part of Hamas, that they want this conflict to go to fruition?
Look, I'm pissed off today. And I am. And I was trying to have it fun right now, talking about elevated heights.
That doesn't have anything to do with us.
No, I'm not pissed off at you. I'm pissed off because I woke up. It's 4 a.m. and I'm going through X, and these MAGA people are sickening. I'm listening to I listen to when I drive. I put on right-wing talk radio, and it's just, yes, dear leader, you're so handsome. Your bulbous giant rump is so wonderful, all that stuff. And this is no different. So Ilhan Omar, whom I don't like, don't want to see in office. She's a horrible human being.
Yeah.
But here, what she said was, basically, in essence, is it's too soon to be taking a victory lap and giving anybody credit for peace. Which, when you think of the nonsense that comes out of her wicked little mouth, this is pretty accurate. So I'm listening to Brian Kilmeade this morning and his guest. They can't even give Trump credit for anything. Why don't we wait and see? And this is my approach, not just with the orange idiot. Well, that's true. I mean, you're right. Hamas is already executing people.
Yeah.
And And by the way, they're executing the people that everybody was very concerned about Israel killing when they're going after Hamas. So now Israel doesn't go after Hamas, and the only thing that changes is Hamas is safe because the civilians still aren't safe. But yet the right-wing MAGA folk, give him credit, he's our dear leader. Fuck you. I'm sick of these fucking people. I'm sick of them kissing his ass, and I'm sick of them expecting me to kiss his ass. If they want to sell their dignity, let them sell it. I'm not doing it, especially not for an orange idiot P.T. Barnum wannabe. I'm sorry. No.
Indeed. Indeed.
And you're going to see in the other stuff I sent you, you're going to see more of why I'm pissed off.
I did see some of this. We're going to be discussing this. Are you talking about the college kids?
Yes.
The language that they're using in internal chats on
Yes.
Telegram. We might as well talk about that now. But I agree with you. It's beyond too soon to judge whether this peace deal is going to go through in Gaza. I think Hamas has already demonstrated bad faith. You had to expect that from the very beginning. They should have demonstrated to the pro-Palestinian folks out there that the real threat to the Palestinian people is Hamas. They are the ones who are oppressing them. They just murdered the political competition, literally. The clans that could have gotten together and formed some form of democratic organization, some form of a government based in human liberty, are now laying dead in the street. And I might add, some of the assassins being cheered on. These people were lined up in public spaces, shot in the head in front of people, cheering. So there's certainly still a great deal of toxicity left within the Palestinian population itself. I won't make the generalization, Michael, is to say all, because clearly the folks that were on the side of peace and wanting some
are getting murdered
before our eyes.
Now, let me just point out, and this is the thing, and I like numbers, I like you, but this type of comment drives me up a wall because it's entirely irrelevant to the point I was making. I even qualified the point by talking about how horrible Ilhan Omar is. The point of the matter is MAGA is taking a very premature victory lap, and they're doing it all to kiss one man's insecure ass. So the fact that Omar is rooting for Hamas, we know it's why I said she was evil. But it's not relevant to the point at hand. But no matter what, it's like I got rid of Scott, but we have a new Scott to come in now. So no matter what is said,
don't let your temper guide your behavior. Keep I like numbers. He's right. She is.
I'm not going to cancel him. I wasn't talking about kicking him out. I said I like him at the beginning. I like numbers. But my point is that this is the type of comment that exactly what we're talking about. No matter what criticism comes of Trump, it goes, yeah, but they're bad too. They're horrible. I know they're horrible. I know Ilhan Omar is a despicable human being. That does not translate into MAGA is correct any more than MAGA being wrong translates Omar into being correct. And Persephone, you got to see the way Persephone's looking at me. She loves when I get my temper going. It's really amazing. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, it's true. Omar is a scum. She is rooting for Hamas. That was the sole reason for saying what she said. It had nothing to do with the virtue of actually observing things on the ground and going for the truth. But that is irrelevant. What is relevant is that everybody's doing a victory lap when no victory has in fact been won. Everybody seems to be kissing Trump's ass, not just in the conservative media, but around the world, despite the fact that this conflict is far from resolved. Yes, sir.
I want to make a distinction here between analysis, evaluation, and factual claims. Because Akira Felix now says, MAGA-tards are to be dismissed, Michael. That doesn't make Omar a trustworthy source. All Omar said that I'm referencing is, it's too early to take a victory lap, right? The analysis stands or falls based on its accuracy, not on who said it. This should not be a difficult thing to understand. In logic, what you're doing, it's called the subject motive shift. Switching from the subject at hand to the motive of the person who said something. The analysis is what I'm talking about, not her credibility as a source.
I hate to say this, Michael. but you're right. I want to
Of
get
course
to this
I'm right. When am I wrong?
often.
Look
I
at
wanna get to
Persephone. Oh my God. It's awesome.
She's probably digging her head in her hands.
No, she has a thing for me. It's okay. I mean,
Race Jacobson says something that I think can lead us directly into the stuff that you want to really talk about. I can tell you're chomping at the bit to talk about. Race Jacobson said, no matter how you qualify it, MAGA people will always find the way to whataboutism. Now, I used to hate that term whataboutism, but it's really applying when it comes to the MAGA folks. And what I mean by applying is that they deflect their evil and they evade the evil that they're engaging in by saying, well, the other side does it, so why can't we? So Politico, this is from Twitter. Politico puts an exclusive. Thousands of leaked messages show leaders of young Republican groups joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape in a private Telegram chat. Inside rising GOP leaders, racist chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months. And of course, now, I guess there was some dirt that came out against some political, someone going for the attorney general in Virginia. And then J.D. Vance came on and whataboutism that.
Yes, of course he did.
Okay, because
now here's the thing. Do you know that? So this jerk down in Virginia comes out and says that something about murdering a political opponent. If the political opponent's kids got murdered, that would be good because sometimes people need to suffer. All kinds of grotesque stuff.
Need to suffer in order for political movements to move forward.
It's all disgusting, reprehensible. This guy should never see political office in his life. Right. The Democrats, including the Democrat running for governor, have not. They said, yes, this is bad, but they haven't taken back their endorsement. They haven't asked them to step down. None of that. All gross behavior. Granted. Now you have this disgusting chat that comes out with the Republicans. And what do? Oh, but you weren't talking about this other guy. So what's his name? Mike Lee came out and said, why don't you talk about this other person here? He was actually talking to Chris Murphy, my senator, who's all up in arms about this chat, but evidently didn't care when it was the Democrat calling for murder. So now Mike Lee steps in with the whataboutism. Okay, Murphy, but how come you weren't saying this? How come you don't talk about that? So I said, okay, I'll talk about it. That guy was reprehensible, Senator. Now you talk about how reprehensible these Republicans are, because each side are all just these disgusting humans. And all they can say is, but what about the other side? And MAGA has completely lost the moral plot when it comes to cancel culture. They've gone from you shouldn't get canceled for saying, for not calling somebody their pronouns, which I do agree. You shouldn't get canceled for that, to no matter how reprehensible of a human you are, if you're on our side, we're not going to call you out on it because we don't believe in cancel culture. Me, I believe in morality. These people are morally reprehensible. The vice president of the United States is a scumbag. I mean, let's just be clear. He's a scumbag. When you think like he thinks, you're a scumbag. All the Republican influencers out there who are reposting the story and laughing and saying, ha, I don't care. You're scumbags. And within your group, you can all be happy that you're scumbags. You know what? When I was in prison, all the scumbags that are gathered together don't look at themselves like scumbags. So they don't care that you think they're scumbags. And now it's the same. Us people with moral judgment know you're scumbags. The fact that you don't think you're scumbags doesn't mean you're not. Because, Mark, guess what?
What?
They're scumbags.
Yes. Michael, you just grew 5 inches. Now you're shrinking again.
Because I went like this, and then I sat comfortable. I want to be comfortable. I'm not going to be uncomfortable so you can be happy. And by the way, Lee Timothy Frazier commented that Persephone is married. Mark is married too, and you can see the man crush he has on me. Just saying.
Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't get in the way of just what spontaneously happens to one's body, my friend. It's just a thing. It's a biological reaction to what.
Yes, it is. The sweating, the flushing, everything that.
It's all involuntary. It's all involuntary. There's nothing one can do about it. But I can still control myself. Unlike
You know,
yourself.
my girlfriend got a little upset with me. Speaking of girlfriends, and I'm going to let you go in a second, but this is humorous. We were watching that movie, the moving picture you were in, Mulholland Drive. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were good. Not my favorite movie, but you were good. But there was a good part. There was a nice, a good lesbian.
So was Naomi Watts. And if you're going to talk about that lesbian scene, that is one of the best girl on girl love scenes I think I've ever seen in movies.
You will ever see.
Yes.
And so, what am I going to do? And my girlfriend says, gives me the look. Well, what do you want from me? It's a good lesbian scene. I'm not going to, you can't poo-poo a good lesbian scene.
In fact,
Excellent lesbian scene.
That was one of the. Now I'm not like this isn't an admission of anything bad, but those kinds of scenes don't normally, don't normally float my boat. But
Me neither. But that was a good scene.
In that case, that was an amazing. Folks, if you want to see Mulholland Drive, if you want to have a cinematic experience, many people look. It's in the top 50 movies of all time.
Don't sugarcoat this. I know it.
Both Michael and I don't understand why. I don't understand why the critics love it or why it has such huge fans, but it does. But there is a superior girl-on-girl love scene in there that is worth watching. It makes the whole movie worthwhile, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you could just fast forward to the scene.
No, Michael. I mean, in all fairness,
back to the scumbags.
I think what David Lynch was trying to do was create a Hollywood nightmare. He was trying to show where ambition led, the dark areas that ambition led in Hollywood, and how this woman tried to take the identity of somebody. It's sort of a real thing in Hollywood. It was done in an over surreal manner.
Yeah. This is the problem with modern art. What you just did, and with all the people, because all the actors in the movie don't even know what it's about. And they all do the same thing. Oh, but I think it's about this. It reminds me of people at an art museum looking at a picture that makes no sense, but one person talks about how magnificent it is and nobody wants to sound stupid. So they look up, oh, yes, it is exquisite. And no, this was not a good film. I don't care what the experts say. I can think for myself. Mark was the one bright spot. Mark and the lesbian scene. Okay, get back to the scumbags.
Look, it made Naomi Watts a star. She's an amazing actress. She's gone on to have an amazing and stellar career. And I thought she was good in it. She had a very difficult role to play. I mean, it was a very emotionally demanding role, which she did very well, and I'm very proud of her performance for that. And regardless of what you think of the movie, David Lynch had the independence of mind to take back his project and create what he wanted to out of it.
He had an acid trip. That's what he had, an acid trip.
He didn't have.
He took his acid trip and he flung it up on the screen.
I heard that he did a project for somebody before he passed away, where his only demand was not a salary of any kind, but that they have Cheetos for him to eat because he was a Cheetos fan. That's David Lynch in a nutshell. And
Cheetos. I don't like them. They get your hands all that
I don't like
orangey.
It's not food. Greg Dougherty says the insightful observation is that MAGA and the Democrats are identical in all essential characteristics. That is true. Before we go on to the next news item, Michael, I want to remind people to like and subscribe.
No, you have to comment on this one. We got sidetracked.
Comment on what?
Comment on the chat people and how they're scumbags and how the people defending them are scumbags and how the people on the left who defend the other guy are scumbags.
I only saw some of the chats, but some of the chats in that chat space that took 7 months of accomplishment from the new Republican generation, but they are complete and utter scumbags, folks. Look, I feel like when you create an atmosphere, a tribalistic atmosphere like this, that's increasingly irrational and all about the ties to your brethren, right? To the people in your group, you're going to get increasingly violent, irrational responses from people. And this is exactly what the political atmosphere is like now. Utterly and totally intolerant, utterly and totally anti-Republican in the sense that, I mean, Republican constitutionalism goes, totally anti-liberty. Everybody is anti-individual. All of them are. You're either for us or against us. They're warring factions, and they're not beyond political violence anymore. They're both exhorting political violence as a means of dealing with the opposition. They're both entirely hypocrites. But there is one party on this planet, Michael, that is not like that. There is one party that is totally and utterly principled, that will not fall into the tribalistic warfare that you're seeing today and to the dishonesty and evasion that we see permeating politics today. Michael, do you have any idea what that party is? Because I have a notion.
It's the American Capitalist Party, the party of the unscumbags.
It's the party of the unscumbags. That's what we should call ourselves. We are unscumbags, like the Uncola. That was a great ad, by the way. When 7-Up tried to compete with Pepsi and Coke, they called themselves the Uncola. We are the
Wow, you really dated us now, because I remember that.
So go to AmericanCapitalistParty.org. Read the policies if you want to find out what the party's all about. Join up, man. Become a card-carrying member of the American Capitalist Party.
Do you know who James Gunn is?
Forward. James Gunn. Not a director.
He is. But
Yes.
somebody yesterday, because I post these clips, and I'm going to rat on Lee Timothy Frazier right now, because somebody said they looked at you and said, "Oh my God, Frazier, yeah." But you're going to want to call her Frazier in a second, because is that Jack? No, okay. So somebody came on and said that this guy, in relation to you, didn't know who you were. They said this guy looks like a poor man's James Gunn. So Lee Timothy Frazier steps up and says,
Wait, some guy said that about me?
Yeah. So Lee comes into the chat and she says, "Normally I would stick up for him, but this is hilarious." Ha!
Normally she would stick up for me?
Yeah, that's what she said. But she said this was too funny to stick up for you. Oh, Persephone's clarified everything. It's actually homeless James Gunn.
It's actually what?
They said a homeless James Gunn, not a poor man's James Gunn. I was misremembering. They said homeless James Gunn.
And that was somebody in the chats watching the show as we speak?
No, this was on the clips I post. This was on TikTok.
Oh, all right.
But I looked him up, and the guy does resemble you, and you not your normal self, but your Toronto movie TV show self. Oh, you might want to do an advertisement before the next section comes up. I saw an advertisement this morning for the Murdaugh show you're in. That's streaming. I believe it started streaming.
Oh, good. So, well, you just got it, folks. The Murdaugh Murders is streaming on Hulu, I believe. I think it's
yes.
Hulu show. Yeah, go watch. The folks in it are fantastic. The acting in it, I think, is first rate. They've already done what? There's been 4 documentaries on that. There was a Lifetime movie made with Bill Pullman, who's a fantastic actor, but it just wasn't that good. Only 2 episodes. This one is about 6 or 7 episodes deep, and I think Jason Clarke is going to win something for it because he's out of this world. I didn't get to. I only worked a little bit with Patricia Arquette. Most of my stuff was with Mr. Clarke, Jason Clarke.
Is she still hot?
I'm not going to say anything. Of course she's hot.
I thought you weren't going to say anything.
Well, because then I thought not saying anything would convict me of not thinking she was hot.
Oh, all right.
All right. So, I mean, I think that's an inappropriate question to ask, to be honest with you, Michael.
Why?
Just because.
Because she's in the movie with you?
Well, just because. It's just. I'm just saying. Look, I'm going to get to before we get into any more discussion of how Patricia Arquette is doing at this present time. The Free Press. You sent me something from the Free Press. News organizations have roundly denounced strict new Pentagon reporting rules. Everyone from the New York Times, CNN, to Fox News even, and Newsmax has refused to sign on to a policy that restricts access to certain areas of the Pentagon to members of the press and requires them to pledge not to obtain unauthorized material. The one outlet on the board with the changes was One America News Network, which is about as I hate to use this term because it's thrown around too much, but it really feels like a fascistic news network. It's really not. It's not news. It doesn't feel like news. When you're watching it, you feel like you're watching, a bunch of jingoistic nonsense going on. But
who works for that? Who works for them? I don't even know who they are.
I don't even know the names of the anchors. I saw them briefly when I was in Pittsburgh working, and it was so jingoistic and so over the top. pro-conservative that it was so clearly non-objective that I had issues even watching that.
All right.
And I can understand them limiting access to the Pentagon to reporters to some degree, but now only curated news can go out to the only what's approved by the government can be posted by the news. That's sort of the opposite of free speech. It's sort of the opposite of what a constitutionally restrained government is supposed to be about. I mean, the news organizations are our organs of information, which we need as voters to make proper decisions, to make rational decisions with respect to our government. And what they are doing is depriving us of information that we need to make appropriate decisions going forward. They're in essence killing our ability, our epistemological capacity politically by killing the press in this sense. Now, the Republicans and the MAGA movement cannot claim to be pro-speech.
They can claim it.
No, they can't claim it with legitimacy, let's say.
That they cannot do.
Especially with this order that's come out. I mean, there's a whole plethora of reasons that we could demonstrate why they're not pro-free speech. But this takes the cake, and even Fox News won't sign on to it. What do you think of this new restriction?
Or Newsmax. Newsmax wouldn't even sign on to it.
So even these conservative orgs that, are basically, running a campaign, it's a third campaign for Trump. These folks won't even sign on to this. That's how awful this policy is. What do you think about this, man? And Hegseth, man, he is quite a piece of work. Is the only thing I can come up with here.
He is a piece of work. What our government has become is the single best case that the anarchists have, because this is just not good. An abundance of measures, and we'll get to some more of them, but whether it be licensing, taxation, censorship, ICE on American streets. And by the way, let me just say, this has not started with Trump. I mean, Biden was pressuring the social media companies. Biden wanted the high taxes. Obama put in Obamacare, did all the deportations, wanted to put people, reporters in prison because they weren't revealing their sources. This is simply not a good situation. And the great anarchist, Lysander Spooner, basically, and I don't know the exact quote, but he said the effect of either the Constitution allows for the type of government we now have, or it was impotent to stop it. Either way, it's no good.
We sort of came to a conclusion in our little discussion about banning political parties, that if a culture is aligned a certain way, there's really nothing a constitution can stop.
But that's the rebuttal to the anarchists, because whenever I've debated them, I've said, look, the thing we have to start with right now is the type of governments, the type of systems each of us are arguing for has never existed. And the only way they can ever exist is if the majority of the people buy into it. And right now, I mean, if you just look at X, and I know, Diego will come and say it's not real life. Maybe not, but these people have access to the White House. They have millions and millions of followers. One of them is the vice president of the United States, and this is how they conduct themselves.
And on the other side, Michael, I might say that, like, people who work for the American Communist Party, the ACP, Jackson Hinkle in particular, who is a fake news journalist extraordinaire, travels around the country licking the scrotums of every communist dictator in the world. This guy has millions of followers. Now, granted, they're probably bots from China, they're probably bots from Russia, but still, this guy gets an extreme amount of play out there in the world, as does the ACP, who are all over my feed. I can't get them off my feed, probably because I exchanged with them, and now I can't get rid of them.
Wait a second. Hold on. Did you just say you can't get them off your feed?
Yeah, I said, well, it's because I exchange with them. I realize
it's you repost them all the time. What do you mean you can't get them off your feed?
I post them to make fun of them.
I get why you do it, but you're not trying to get rid of them.
I think I'm going to stop, because now all I have are commies on my feed. It's like something awesome. Hell. It's like a Twilight Zone. Listen, according to Kat Sterling, we're missing 14 lights. likes, and if you do not bring that number up to its proper ratio, she's going to sing, and we will put her on and have her sing. She said you're not going to like it. So in order to save yourselves, folks, I suggest you bring the like ratios up.
Oh, by the way, Persephone was not happy with your schromatic comment, just so you know.
Did she do this?
Oh, she did. No, she went like that. Like she was pissed. Okay. She was pissed.
Why?
So you want to tell me I'm inappropriate for complimenting a woman on attractiveness, and meanwhile you're talking like that?
You didn't compliment her. You asked me a question about her, putting me in the position of judging what she looks like relative to your taste and mine. I'm not a fan of that because I have to work with her. I have to work with her.
Well, you could have turned the question around and said, well, what do you think, Michael?
Okay, what do you think, Michael?
I have had a crush on Patricia Arquette my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's amazing.
Okay, great. Worked with her when she was a young girl too. When she was young, before she had kids. What? Before she had kids? It's not like kids ruined her. I don't know why the laughter. Somebody can explain to me the laughter. We're going to continue along with this theme of MAGA not respecting the First Amendment. The State Department, this is according to the Epoch Times, that's the way they pronounce it. The State Department revokes the visas of 6 foreigners who cheered Charlie Kirk's death. And the reasoning, Michael, is that foreigners are guests here. And we don't need them talking shit. Apparently, the First Amendment doesn't apply to foreigners. Now, this seems to be the new fad in MAGA, and maybe it's been the trend in the federal government for a while, that foreigners do not have the same rights as American citizens do. I find that a very bizarre interpretation of the Constitution. As far as I'm concerned, once you're in the geographical area of the United States of America, you now come under the rules, the umbrella of the Constitution, irrespective of who you are, because individual rights apply to all individuals, irrespective of where you come from. That means you are subject to the Constitution of the United States. You are operating under its umbrella, and that means you have a freedom of speech like everyone else. Now, as despicable as these people may be for cheering on the political assassination of this guy, they still have a right to that opinion. Should they
have green cards, by the way? These are not like illegal immigrants. These are people with green cards. They're revoking green cards over this.
That's correct.
I'm not for like bad mouthing the dead. People recently died. I'm also not for burning the flag. But these pricks make me want to do both. Because you're like trying to really control what people do and say in this country when they're not violating anybody's rights. The language might be ugly. I'll tell you what, it's no uglier than what these kids in this chat room were doing. And these, from what I understand, calling them kids isn't even appropriate because some of them are like staffers to congressmen and whatnot. But that's okay. But pointing out what Charlie Kirk said and believed in is not. I mean, get out of here. Like these. Oh,
even if they're exaggerating or they're wrong or they're lying or it's hyperbole, it doesn't matter, folks. They have the right to say it. They have the right to their opinion. It's certainly un-American to deport these people for that. But there's a lot of un-American things going on today in the interest of Americanism. The new Americanism, Michael, isn't what we would consider Americanism, which is total liberty, rational self-interest, individual rights, and capitalism. The real Americanism is this jingoistic patriotism where you bow and kiss the ring of the leader, and you maintain this insular perspective about the United States, making enemies of everybody around you and stomping on everything that you possibly can. I mean, this guy is the very epitome, Trump, of the ugly American. I mean, he's a cliche. He's a cliche. Literally a walking cliche. Folks, yeah. So New Mexico has I think it's just passed this is likely to try this universal health childcare experiment. Where
I don't think it's healthcare. I think it's just daycare.
Childcare, daycare, right? They're gonna do this universal thing where childcare in New Mexico will be quote unquote free. And I guess people love to hear that because that's what Mamdani says he's going to do in New York.
I can't. We got to save time for that guy.
Okay, I didn't read that Jacobin article, by the way, so you're going to have to deal with that. I'm sorry, I hate the Jacobin with a passion. It's hard for me to read it early in the morning. It gives me indigestion. But anyway, of course, the well-intentioned politicos in New Mexico understand that the price of childcare is going up, and the way that the politicians attempt to control prices is by either putting caps on them or by things like this, legislating it and taking it over completely and centralizing it, and thereby making it free, spreading the costs from the people who actually use it to all of the taxpayers. This, of course, increases demand relative to supply. But in this particular case, we have a problem, a personnel issue, where this is a labor-intensive issue, Michael, which is prone to price hikes that innovation can't solve. Right? So it's prone to these kinds of issues. But the solution of centralizing it and dispersing the costs throughout the taxpayer base will probably create even greater scarcity, as opposed to the free market solution would be to open up regulation, drop regulations, drop certifications, and let the parents for themselves decide, have an open market to decide whom they wish to watch their children for them. What did you think about this political, the way in which the political class attempts to solve price problems, and what should really be done?
Well, they have what you mentioned was you alluded to the labor intensivity of it, and what they were talking about. And there's an effect, and I can't remember the guy's name, but it doesn't matter really. But the point is that there's some service industries that are not really amenable to technological changes that produce great increases in supply and quality. So they're labor intensive, and that's not likely to change. And this is one of them. Healthcare is another, in childcare as well. But it's exactly what you said. By trying to make it free, they're just going to create shortages. It happens over and over again. It also is a wickedly immoral program that you're trying to get some people to pay for other people's childcare. Like there's people that choose not to have children for a reason. Some of the reason is they can't afford it, or they just don't want to be paying for it. But now you're going to make them pay for it. The solution is obvious to me. It's a free market. You just allow a free market to flow. But the way that they do it is they create shortages on the other end by restricting who can go into this business of childcare.
And I think they mentioned that New Mexico had something like 11. There are a certain number of rules that that somebody who wanted to be an au pair or a person who did this kind of work, they would have to pass these various tests, which of course means paying bureaucrats more money so that they can give you permission to then actually care for children. But yeah, these kinds of this is the kind of thing that bottlenecks supply and makes it difficult for people to have access to affordable childcare.
All right, let's get to Mamdani. The crowd wants us to get to Mamdani.
People will, but people will think it's the Wild West, Michael, if you don't have these people, if there aren't some sort of universal government standards that everybody has to abide by, then the alternative to that would be the Wild West, apparently.
Yeah. There's this argument out there right now, and some people who are objectivists are buying into it about the government. And this is what this reminds me of, that, you need the government to step in and to fix things. And on the left, they wanted to fix childcare. And on the right, they wanted to fix crime in the streets. So you send the military in. And I posted a great quote from Ayn Rand this morning about how government is more a potential rights violator than criminals could ever be. So if I've got the choice between having high crime in Portland, Oregon, or sending the military in, I'm going with the high crime. because I know what the government's potential is. I know what historically it does in action. So when I posted this morning that the government, Rand's quote about the government being more rights violator than criminals, somebody came in and asked me, well, what's the data to back this up? So I went and copied and texted and posted to him the United States tax code. And here you go. This is the evidence for it.
Deep Rodriguez says so many children are going to be abused, kidnapped, lost, just like Child Protective Services. As soon as the government takes control of children, the victims start piling up. And Lee says Mike has definitely gotten taller as the show goes on. This is a fact. She also said I'm stupid because I don't understand the algorithms. Lee, you're starting to get borderline with me. I got to tell you, watch yourself. Watch yourself.
Oh no.
Yeah, that made me mad. That made me a little bit mad. But I got to tell you, I know that my engagement induces these people to be on my feed. I got to get control over my desire to beat the fuck out of commies, and that will get them off of my feed because now they're everywhere. It's as if Elon Musk and the algorithm is out to torture me, Michael, because all I do is try to hurt them, and so what they do is they just put more of it in my feed. It's like it's meant to feed contention. That's what I feel the medium is meant to do. It's meant to feed contention, not harmony, not good vibes, but bad vibes. If I see another Ed B. Liger video in my mentions, I think I'm going to scream. Now, you want to talk about Mamdani?
No, but you have to recalibrate. You have to do. Race Jacobson is recalibrating his X feed. You've got to do the same. You have got to. You got to stop engaging these people.
I got to stop. Okay.
They're really not interesting anyways. So the Mamdani.
So let me make that promise right here to everybody else that I'm going to stop engaging commies on my feed today, starting today.
Starting today.
All right.
So what I sent you from Jacobin wasn't an article. It was Mamdani's speech. Is the text from a speech that he gave where he said, our time is now. So he starts off, he says, for too long we have tried not to lose. Now it is time that we win. Let me find some other things that he said here. For years, you have fought the good fight for New Yorkers, is what he said to Letitia James. He goes on to talk about this campaign has built the largest volunteer effort of any in New York City history. Well, sure, people are going to volunteer if they know it's going to pay off and what they see to be free stuff later on. In the article, he talks about how billionaires, he demonizes the rich. He touts free transportation. He touts rent freezes, government building new housing. But he then says this, and this is what really pissed me off. He's referring, now after he's calling for all these things that we're going to require mass taxation, mass government force, this is what he says about Trump. His authoritarian administration is waging a scorched earth campaign of retribution against any who dare to oppose them, against the courts that dare hold them accountable, and against our trans and queer neighbors for simply daring to be themselves. Okay, Kami, you have no business calling anybody an authoritarian, right? I happen to agree with the analysis, but for God's sake, have some self-awareness. You're arguing.
They don't have self-awareness.
No, but you're touting a system that had led to millions and millions of deaths in the 20th century, and you want to implement it by force on people that don't want it. I don't care if 50% of New York City wants it. That means 50% doesn't. So you're going to have to use force against those 50%, Mr. Mamdani.
Well,
so
Michael,
please,
you know what's going to happen. If he does do this, people are going to start voting with their feet. It seems to me like the modern socialist takes production for granted. Oh, new housing will appear because I want it to. All I have to do is tax the richest 1%, and that tax base is going to remain there. Well, it's like me having a strategy in jiu-jitsu. If I do this, then this person will do this. No, you have a live person underneath you who's going to react the way they are going to react, and you have a tax base of 1% that pays 40% of the infrastructure costs of New York City. and you want to tax them even more? Sorry, pal. Those people are going to start voting with their feet. In other words, your tax base, the very people you are going to rely on to increase the productivity that you are relying on to give to people for free, are going to leave. They're going to leave. And then the 10% that takes care of 2/3 of all of those services, and when you start reaching into their pockets, they are going to leave as well. It's not written in stone that New York has to be the financial capital of the United States or of the world anymore. That could shift and change. The more that people in New York align themselves with characters like this, who don't understand what production is, who don't understand how to really lower the cost of housing, which is what? Deregulate. Stop regulating. Take the boot of government off the necks of property owners and let them fucking develop, man. Let them develop. That is what you do. You start reducing taxes. You become a business-friendly atmosphere. You don't start promoting government-run stores. You take the obstacles away from those stores that presently exist, all the tax obstacles and all the regulatory obstacles away from those present owners, so that they can now flourish and expand. That's what you do, Mamdani, not what you're planning on doing. Cuomo seems to be building up in the polls a little bit. I don't think Slee was going to drop out. I think he wants to make a political statement. But if he really is a quote unquote, now what do you think about this statement? This may be a bullshit statement, Michael, but I need you to gauge me. I think if Slee were really a New Yorker, if he really cared about New York, he'd drop out. As bad as Cuomo is, I mean, I hate to use the lesser of two evil things because it is still an evil son of a bitch running New York. He's a damn sight better than Mamdani. And if he cared about, if Sliwa cared about New York, I think he would drop out of the race. That's what I think.
I don't know. When it comes, like, I'm looking at the political landscape, and we got MAGA to the right, Mamdaniism to the left. Throw in your woke elements, your craziness on both sides as well. I have no idea. That's why, like I said yesterday, I don't criticize people who voted for Trump to avoid Harris. I wouldn't criticize people who voted Harris to avoid Trump, because I have no freaking clue. When the options are this bad, when the philosophies are this bad, I just have no clue what to do. None.
I agree with you. And in the case of the last presidential election, I actually abstained from voting for the president because I literally could not find even the libertarian candidate was awful. Everybody was awful. There was no one that I thought would lead the country in the right direction. Akira Felix says, but Mark, that's going to make people get richer. Commies want poverty. Indeed, they do, except for Mamdani himself, who doesn't mind his rent-controlled apartment and his subsidized living from his family, who is worth a few $1,000,000. Academics, I might say, artists and academics. That's what his family is. His father is a professor at Columbia University for like Pan-African studies or something like that. He's one of these anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist guys. So this guy's grown up with this nonsense from the beginning. And you know what particularly irritates me about this guy, Michael? It's not just his political perspective. It's his fake benevolent smile.
I thought you were going to say his hairdo, but okay.
But that smile, it's so disgustingly saccharine and benevolent. It just makes me want to, I don't even want to say what it makes me want to do.
Don't say it.
I'm trying to avoid the violent side of my nature. You also sent me an article here from the National Review, how Chuck Schumer hopes Americans forget that the filibuster exists.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that in the last 5 minutes.
Okay, so we have this government shutdown, and each side blames the other, whatever, But Chuck Schumer says, well, the Republicans control the House and the Senate, but there's a filibuster, so they can't just pass a budget without your help, dude. So that.
By the way, that they wanted to get rid of.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, they did want to get rid of it. I do not want to get rid of it.
Nor do I.
Say
but let's explain why the filibuster is actually a good thing.
Because
it's for bad purposes now.
Well, because it restrains mob rule is why.
Yes.
It holds temporary emotions and temporary movements and puts them in check. So it's a good thing, but it's there. Schumer and company are making use of it and then acting as if they're not responsible for the shutdown, which of course they are. Now, I mean, in one sense, everybody's responsible because they could all just agree to something that they don't really agree with. But short of that, Schumer cannot avoid responsibility, not authentically anyway.
Yeah, now that also makes me think of the fact that each and every one of these administrations promotes the abolition of something that protects minority rights, and don't even think in the moment that later on down the line, when they are the political minority, they're going to actually need that very tool to hold off mob rule. And this reminds me of the Democrats fighting so hard to get the filibuster killed. And I thought to myself, well, you guys are going to be in the minority at some point. And at some point, you're going to want that filibuster to hold off mob rule. In this case, they're using it, I think, for bad reasons. It's very cynical. And Schumer's a very cynical politician.
Oh, he's no good. No, Schumer's no good. No.
Unfortunately, the one who will challenge him is no better. But he is the epitome of the parasitic political class. I mean, this guy is the epitome of it. So, Michael, we have 3 minutes left. Is it my turn for it is my turn for the capitalist thought?
We've got 4 minutes and 14 seconds left. We do an hour. We're not just going to go off at 12 or 1. I'm sorry. Oh, I got to say some things real quickly. I had a scheduled debate today for 4 o'clock, but Liquid Zulu's computer went kaput. So
why do I know that name? Why do I know Liquid Zulu?
You've engaged them a little bit on X in the past. But we're not going to be able to do it because of his computer. So I'm sorry about that. We are not going to be here for today, tomorrow, Monday, or Tuesday because I am off to sunny San Diego, and I'm going to have a very fun time. But we will be back next Wednesday.
He's going to San Diego to see Leonard Peikoff. I'm going to miss that event because I will be in Toronto. But Sunday, we will be doing Self-Made Soul at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. For anybody who has Patreon, we're going to be talking about a couple of Ayn Rand's essays that we already listed previously. So folks, bone up on those essays, and we're going to have a very good discussion about how that integrates into self-improvement. Do you want me to talk about one more thing before we do the capitalist?
We have no you because we can ask a question. We're going to give a capitalist thought of the day. That'll take us out. We're going to compliment Persephone on the wonderful job she does, Race Jacobson on the thumbnails, and tout the American Capitalist Party as the best party on the planet. So go ahead and give your capitalist thought of the day, and then we'll ask the good question, which I haven't thought of yet. I'll do it now as I'm not listening when you give the capitalist thought of the day.
Do you listen at whenever I'm talking? You don't.
Yes, I do. I find you to be
very half the time.
That's not true. I find you to be very engaging, and I like what you have to say.
Okay, you're lying.
Let's just clear the air. Talk about not listening. I text Mark. You know how long it takes him to get back to me?
Like 10 seconds. Look, folks, remember to like and subscribe to this station before you leave. Remember to like it on YouTube and share it on multiple platforms. The algorithms like that. Look, today, the First Amendment is under attack, but it is one of the most important amendments in the United States Constitution. It guarantees your free speech. It guarantees a number of things, but free speech is one of the most important and vital components to a free society. Free speech means that we are free to engage in ideas and persuade one another. We are free to compare and contrast, which is the only way we can epistemologically function. Through comparing and contrasting ideas, that's how we get to the truth. When you don't have free speech anymore, when it is guided from above, and only that which is politically expedient is allowed to be talked about, and only talked about from the point of view of the parasitic political class's perspective, you no longer have a proper epistemological framework to work from politically. You are done, and you have no other recourse but to take up arms. So the fact that free speech is under threat today means that we are in deep trouble. So I appeal to you to go to the American Capitalist Party, at AmericanCapitalistParty.org, and become a card-carrying member of the American Capitalist Party, because it is a true standard bearer for free speech, unfettered speech. That is what America is about. That is part of what is Americanism. Now, Michael, you take us out with the question.
I have a very fun question today for everybody. Everybody can see that Mark has this wonderful platinum hair and mustache. The question I have for the audience is, and you have to go to YouTube and answer in the comments, should I dye my hair and mustache the same color as Mark's hair and mustache? That's the question. Make sure you go and answer it. Should I dye my hair and mustache the same color as Mark's? I'm not saying I'm going to do it if you answer yes. I'm just asking, do you think I should do it?
Okay, that's a good question. And there should be the qualification that you will do it if enough people say yes.
30 people say yes, I'll do it.
If 30 people say yes, then he is going to dye his hair and facial hair the same as mine. That'll start talk around town. Folks, so we're going to be off until Wednesday with Capitalist Corner, but we'll see you on Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. For all those people who are into the show on my Patreon, Self-Made Soul. Other than that, you've got a few days now to rethink your premises, so take that time wisely and do it, man. Until then, peace.